Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Margarita and today I'm here to bring you an incredibly overdue video. I am so sorry that it has been so long. I don't know why I assumed that I could work, go to school, read, do my homework, and also film videos all at the same time and I wouldn't go crazy. I don't know what I was thinking, but I have luckily been able to read books while I have been in school. So today I'm here to bring you my March and April wrap-up. I filmed my March wrap-up at the very beginning of April and it was horrible. It was so bad that I just deleted it and I never actually had time to refilm. So here we are. We're just going to squish them all together. So without further ado, let's just get into it. The first book that I read is Winter. I don't have the book with me because I got it from the library and I'm waiting for it to come out on paperback before I buy it so that my whole collection matches. But that is the first book that I read in March. Yeah, March is Winter, and that is the fourth book in the Lunar Chronicles. It's the fourth and final book, and this is the retelling of Winter that is the main character in this book. It's basically Snow White, and it's the epic conclusion. I don't want to say too much about it, but if you don't know what the Lunar Chronicles are about, they're basically fairy tale retellings. And in the very first one is Cinder. You have this girl that is a mechanic, but she's also a cyborg, and it's a retelling of Cinderella, and it's just that all the books are linked and they're really, really good. I recommend them if you haven't read them. My only issue with the fourth book was that it's all leading up to this big event, and there were so many reasons why the big event couldn't happen that I felt that it was unnecessarily long. Like, she could have cut out a couple of those conflicts and the book would have been just as good, because I'm all for conflict in a book because you don't want the good guys, you don't want it to be too easy for them, but this seemed like, wow, really? Another one? Really? Another one? It got to do that for me at one point, but I still gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I will definitely be rereading the entire series at some point, and I recommend it if you haven't read it yet. The next 3 books that I read are all part of the same series, and it is, let's see, there's Got Fangs, Circus of the Darn. These are both written under the name Katie Maxwell, and this is In the Company of Vampires under the name Katie McAllister. All the same person. I read these 2 books probably 10 years ago when I was a teenager, and I didn't have a lot of money to spend on books, so I would buy the cheapest books I could find. These are vampire stories. It's actually really, really good. It follows our main character, Fran, who her mom takes her on this tour of Europe because she is the witch for this local fair, or for this traveling gothic fair. And Fran has this special power where when she touches someone, she can tell you their emotions and what they're feeling, what they're thinking. And she hates it. She thinks she's a freak because of it. And she meets one of the people's brother, Ben, who is a vampire. And he tells Fran that she is the only person in the entire world who can redeem his soul because she is his beloved. And that's the main premise of all these books. But there's also this one that she's trying to figure out who's stealing from the fair. This one, you've got some Viking ghosts that come into play. There's Loki. I mean, it's a fun series. I gave all of these books 3 out of 5 stars. By no means are they the best books that have ever been written, but they're still really fun, and definitely the first 2 were really nostalgic for me, and I really liked it, and I liked how the ending happened, and it's good stuff. If you like cheesy vampire books, I would give it a try if you can find them, because it's been a long time. I don't know if they're still in print, but I really liked them. The next book that I read in March is Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it's basically this girl, Nyx, was born, her and her twin sister were born, and she was promised to be the bride of the Dark Lord. So her father basically sold her off to the Dark Lord. And her whole life she has been taught and trained that she has to die in order to kill this Dark Lord that runs their their world and has it separated from the rest of the world. So that's what this story is about. I really liked it. I love fairy tale retellings. This was good. I believe I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I'd recommend it if you like fairy tale retellings. And then the last book that I read in March is Lumberjanes, Beware the Holy Kitten. This is volume 1. It's by Stevenson, Ellis, Waters, and Allen. This is just a fun graphic novel all about girl power and all the shenanigans that these girls get into. They're at this away camp. It's kind of like Girl Scouts, I think, and they're just getting into all kinds of nonsense, and they're trying to figure out all this, like, all these monsters and stuff that have appeared in the forest, and it's just really good. I thought that I got the second book from the library, but unfortunately I got the third. I didn't realize that at the time, and because the sticker on the side is covering up what volume it is, so I was like, this is probably the second one, I'll get it, but it was the third. So I will continue on with the series if I can find them in order at the library. We'll see how that goes. So now we are on to my April wrap up, and the first book that I read in April is The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. This is the first book in the Revenant Chronicles, and I enjoyed this book a lot more than I thought that I would. I just saw it there and I thought, hey, I'll pick it up. I've heard a lot of people talking about it, but I was never really super interested in reading it. It wasn't something I was like, wow, that's something I have to read. But I really, really enjoyed it. It's basically about this princess. What's her name? Leah. I read this so long ago. This is about Leah, who's a princess, and she is supposed to be married off to the prince of their rival kingdom because they have a common enemy of these barbarians, as they call them, who are trying to take over, and they know the combined force of their two kingdoms will help keep them at bay. So she's promised to marry this prince, and she doesn't want to, so she runs away, and the prince that she has scorned and an assassin come after her, and you don't know who is who who the prince is and who the assassin is. At first I thought that I did, and then I realized I wasn't reading the headers correctly, because when I figured out who was who, I was like, that is not what I thought. So I'm sorry, I got so excited, but this is definitely really good. It was actually so good that I went on Book Outlet and bought the next 2 books. And when I find this on Book Outlet, I will definitely be picking up the first one. So I really did enjoy this series. I gave it, can't remember if I gave it 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5 stars, but I definitely enjoyed it, and I am obviously going to continue on with the series. The next book that I read was The Dark Heroine by Abigail Gibbs. And this is Dinner with a Vampire. This is a vampire book that has been sitting on my shelf for... Actually, the sequel has been sitting on my shelf a lot longer than this one has. And it says, the sexiest romance you'll read this year. What a load of bull. Oh my god. I think I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. And I think that was being generous. This was the most boring book. It was so stupid. The vampires in this book, not scary. They're like stupid adolescent teenagers, even though they're hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old, which makes no sense. Let me tell you what it's about. It's about this girl who sees something that she shouldn't have seen, and the vampire prince comes and takes her away. And it turns out that her father is a very influential person in the human realm, so they can't just kill her. So they spend the whole book trying to convince her to change into a vampire. And that's what this book is basically about. It's just so horrible. The main person, the vampire prince, what's his name, Casper, what a dick. And you find out why, but then when they fall in love, I don't understand why. He was such a horrible piece of shit to her, and he was so abusive to her, and she, oh, I love him even though he's done all these horrible things for me. And I have been in abusive relationships before, and that just really, really pissed me off. I was like, what is wrong with you? This guy is a dick. No! I don't like this book. And I have the second book on my shelf. I will be reading it just because I own it and I spent the money on it, but I don't think I'll be keeping either of those books. Definitely not keeping this one. Oh my god. Hated it. Hated it. It was so bad. And this is, how many? This is over 500 pages. This is almost 550 pages of bullshit. Don't read it. I mean, read it, form your own opinion, but don't read it. The next book that I read is another book that I really thought that I had no interest in reading, but I decided to pick it up anyway because I heard it was a quick read, and that is Illuminae, the Illuminate Files #1 by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is a sci-fi young adult book. I'm sure everybody's heard of it. I'm probably one of the last people who on earth to actually read it. And it reads very fast because it's a lot of instant messages and pictures and case files and stuff like that. So it does read fast. And it's basically, there is an attack on this planet, and 3 ships survive, and they have all these survivors on them, and all these shenanigans start happening, and people start dying, and you don't know what's going on. And I mean, you don't figure it out until almost the very, very end. And I did enjoy it. I am planning on picking up Gemina, I think is the next one, and I think the 3rd one's coming out soon. So I am planning, sorry, words are hard. I am planning on continuing on with the series. I don't know if I'm going to own the series, but I am definitely planning on continuing on and getting them from the library. It was pretty good. I believe I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Not bad, definitely entertaining. The next book that I read, I had started, all of these books are pretty chunky. Don't think that I'm like flying through books all of a sudden. I've read most of this book. I want to say I read like 40% of this book a couple months ago, and I put it down. And that is The Final Empire, the first book in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying this. I did not find this to be the best fantasy book that I've ever read. I know a lot of people swear by this series. It was good, and the ending was definitely a lot better than the beginning, but like I said, I had read about 40% of this book months ago, and I put it down because I just didn't want to read it anymore. Like, I didn't have the drive to read it, and the only reason I picked this up is because I'd read The Dark Heroine and Illuminae for the Tome Topple. My god, I totally forgot what that readathon was. I had read those for Tome Topple, and I still had more time, and I knew this would definitely count towards that, so I read this. I didn't finish it in Tome Topple, I finished it like 2 days later, but I was reading it for Tome Topple. That's the only reason I picked this book back up, and it's good. I don't think it's great. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I'm planning on continuing on with the series because I'd like to see how it continues, but for those of you who don't know, this is basically a epic fantasy series where the evil Dark Lord won, and he is ruling over all of these people, and there's a rebellion, and there are these people called Mistings and Mistborns. Mistings can control only one, or they can burn only one type of metal, and Mistborns can burn all 11 types of metal. Or technically 12 types of metal, I'm sorry. They can burn all 12 types of metal. 12? No, it's 10. Get it together, Margarita. Wow. They can burn 10 types of metal, and they're the most powerful other than the Dark Lord and the the Steel Inquisition? I don't know, but there are other people that are about just as powerful, but it follows 2 Mistborns trying to take down the Dark Lord and the people in their crew and stuff like that. It's good. It's not as good as I was expecting it to be. I think Game of Thrones is better. Please don't kill me. I think the Kingkiller Chronicles is better. It's good, but it's not, for me, it's not what everybody is saying that it is. So the next book that I read is Bittersweet Love by Michael Faudet. This is a poetry collection. This is, I believe, his second one. And his first one, I believe it was Dirty Dirty Things, something like that. I really enjoyed that one. This one, not so much. I didn't really connect with any of the poetry in this. I'm wondering if maybe I'm just too dense to get poetry right now. I don't know. but this was not as good as his first one, in my opinion. It felt more like the publishers were like, hey, we want to publish another book by you. And he was like, oh, okay, I'll get on that. And they said, here's the deadline. And this is what happened. Like, I didn't feel any of it. And a lot of it, I was like, is this a short story? Why is this, what? So I don't know. I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. Read it, form your own opinion. Tell me what you think. But I was not the biggest fan. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to keep it. I kind of want to try and read it again later, maybe when I'm in a better mood. Anywho, the last book that I read in April is This One Summer by Jillian Tamaki and Mariko Tamaki. And this is a graphic novel, and it follows our main character, Rose, who goes to their summer beach cottage house thing. And it basically follows one summer in this girl's life where things are slowly starting to kind of fall apart in her life. Things with her mother are really bad and you don't understand why until the very end. The family dynamic is very tense. There's this boy that she has a crush on, and he has a girlfriend, and she is letting that, I kind of think, affect how she feels about this girl and the problems that this girl is going through. And she's seeing that relationship with these really young eyes where they're only seeing part of the story, they're not seeing everything as a whole, and it's basically her reacting to everything that's going on in this summer. And it follows, and she has this friend Wendy, and things start to get a little strained there. And it's just the story of this one summer for this girl, Rose. I liked it. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I don't think it's anything spectacular, but I don't think it's bad either. It was interesting. It was worth a read. And that's it. Those are all the books I read in March and April. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys read, and I will definitely be back very, very soon with a book outlet haul for March and April because I have no self-control. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye.